In today's video, I'm going to talk about John chapter 15, verses 1 through 8, and how the relationship that we develop with God over time will help us bear fruit. It was just a few months ago where most of us were partaking in fall activities, going to the pumpkin field or the apple orchard, right? And if you can imagine back in that time, walking through the trail, the beautiful trees that were full of apples, right? A nice round red or green apple that was hanging from the tree and connected to the branch. And then you look at the floor, there was apples that were cut from the branch and they were dead, rotted out, and weren't that appealing to the eye. And same with the pumpkins. There's those nice round orange pumpkins that look great, and then there's the rotted out pumpkins that are no longer connected to the vine. We oftentimes look the same but may not realize it, because of the relationship that we either have or don't have with God. And that's what I'm going to get into in today's video. If you guys find value, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So I'll start off by reading the verse. Jesus says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me." And so the first point that I have is God is the source of our strength and life. The key verse here is John 15, verse 5. "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." And just like those nice round, ripe, red or green apples hanging from the tree that have all the nutrients from the vine, we should rely on God as the vine for our source of life and strength. When we disconnect, we lose the ability to thrive spiritually and fulfill the purpose that God has for us. So again, the example of the apple on the tree connected to the vine that looks nice to eat, or the example of the branch that's cut, the apple's on the floor and it's rotted out. The real life example here is when we focus too much on secular things. It's the love and lust for secular things that takes our eyes off of God and onto the worldly things. And ultimately, that hurts the relationship that we have with God. And so we might seem fine at first, right? Just like the apple that just fell off the tree. It still looks like it's good to eat. But eventually over time, if you go back to the next day or the week after, that apple's probably rotted out and no longer good to eat. Just like in our lives, when we disconnect from God and push him away and focus on those secular things, then we start to wither away. And we may not even realize that that's happening to us. The more we focus on the worldly things, the more we disconnect from God and start to look like that apple on the floor. Point 2 is that pruning is part of the process. In John 15, verse 2, it says, "He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful." And so what this means is that God, as the gardener, will sometimes prune us, removing things that we may think that we need, that he knows that we no longer need. Whether it's an unhealthy habit, any type of distraction, maybe a toxic relationship, something that's holding us back from our full potential of pursuing God. It's a painful process because, again, it's something that we think we need. Or even if we know that it's not the right thing, it's something that makes us feel good. It's that dopamine effect. It's something that needs to be removed from our lives in order to go forward in the relationship that we have. This pruning process is where he's refining us. It's a sign of God's love and his desire to see us flourish. And my third and final point is that a life of fruit glorifies God. In John 15, verse 8, it says, "This is to my Father's glory that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." And just like that apple tree or that pumpkin that's connected to the vine, it's appealing not only to look at, but it produces life. The purpose of bearing fruit isn't just about looking good, but it's about having a purpose and reflecting God's goodness to the world. And so that's all I have for today's video. If you guys found value, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate your time.